It was 3:17 p.m. on a crisp October afternoon, and I was lying in the the cold metal of the bed pressing against my back. My chest felt tight, like someone had tied a knot around my heart. The doctor said it was a mild heart scare, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I reached for my phone, the screen blurring under the hospital's harsh lights. I dialed Michael, my only son. The call went through, but his voice came hurried, clipped. "Mom, we're in the middle of our anniversary party for Sophia. Can this wait?" I closed my eyes. The beep of the heart monitor filled the silence. I could hear laughter in the background, glasses clinking, someone singing a love song. My son was celebrating while I was here, alone, with a nurse named Ellen checking my chart. I told him I was in the There was a pause, long enough for me to notice the orange leaves outside the window, stuck to the glass from the morning rain. "Okay, Mom, I'll call you after the party," he said, like I was just another errand. I didn't argue. I didn't have the strength. The nurse offered me a cup of water. No ice. And I took it, not because I was thirsty, but because I needed something to hold on to. I was 64 years old, a retired teacher who'd spent a lifetime building a home for my family. And now, in this sterile room, with the faint smell of antiseptic and the hum of machines, I realized the one person I thought would come running, didn't. My son chose a party over me, and that truth hurt more than my heart ever could. My name is Clara, and at 64, I've spent most of my life teaching literature to high school kids in a small Ohio town. I used to stand in front of a chalkboard, reading Emily Dickinson to restless teenagers, hoping they'd find a piece of themselves in her words. Now, retired, I live alone in the two-story house Robert and I bought 40 years ago. It's got creaky stairs, a faded blue door, and a piano in the living room Robert used to play on Sunday mornings. I still dust its keys, not because I play, but because touching them feels like holding onto him. Robert's been gone 7 years now, taken by cancer, and some days, the house feels more like his ghost than my home. My son, Michael, is 38, a software engineer who moved to the city after college. He's got his father's sharp jawline but none of his patience. Growing up, he'd sit at the kitchen table, sketching circuits while I graded papers. Now, he's always busy, his calls short, his visits shorter. His wife, Sophia, is 35, a marketing whiz who posts every moment of her life on Instagram. Perfect dinners, perfect vacations, perfect smiles. I used to think she was vibrant, full of life, but her brightness feels like a spotlight that leaves me in the shadows. Then there's Lily, my granddaughter, 13 years old, with dark curls and eyes that see more than she says. She's quiet, like me, but fierce in her own way. When she visits, she strums her guitar on the porch, filling the house with soft melodies Robert would have loved. She's the only one who still asks about my old teaching stories. The only one who listens. I raised Michael to care, to show up, like Robert always did, but somewhere along the way, he stopped, and as I lay in that bed, staring at the ceiling tiles, I wondered if I'd been wrong to think family would always mean home. The hospital room felt like it was closing in, the walls too white, the air too sharp with antiseptic. I held the plastic cup of water, its rim cold against my fingers, and stared at the phone lying silent on the tray table. Michael never called back. The nurse, Ellen, brought a tray of food, gray oatmeal, a slice of dry toast, a cup of apple juice that shimmered under the fluorescent light. I pushed it away, not because I wasn't hungry, but because my appetite had vanished somewhere between his "can this wait?" and the laughter I'd heard in the background. I opened Instagram, something I rarely did. Sophia's page was easy to find, her posts glowed like a magazine spread. There she was, in a sleek red dress, holding a flute of champagne, Michael's arm around her waist. The caption read, "Best anniversary yet, forever my love." The photo showed a candlelit table. Roses scattered across it. Friends raising glasses. I scrolled further. Another post. A video of them dancing. Her head tilted back, laughing. I turned the phone face down. The apple juice had spilled a little, staining the napkin a faint gold. It reminded me of the scarf Sophia wore when she first met me. Bright and bold, like she owned every room. I'd thought it was beautiful then. When I was discharged the next morning, I took a cab home. The driver didn't ask questions, just nodded when I paid in cash. I stood outside my house. The blue door chipped at the edges, the porch sagging slightly under years of rain. I reached under the ceramic birdhouse Robert had nailed to the railing. The key was there, same as always, its metal cool and familiar. Inside, the house was quiet, too quiet. The living room smelled of old wood and dust. I set my bag on the couch, its cushions worn from years of family movie nights that didn't happen anymore. I walked to the kitchen. Boiled water for tea, Earl Grey. Robert's favorite. The kettle was old, its whistle faint. While it hummed, I opened the drawer where I kept his things. A stack of letters, a watch with a cracked face, and a small leather notebook. Its edges frayed. I hadn't touched it since he died. I flipped it open. His handwriting, slanted and sure, stared back at me. Clara, this house is yours. Don't let anyone take it unless it's your choice. I read it again, my fingers steady. It wasn't just words, it was Robert, speaking across time, like he knew this day would come. That afternoon, Margaret, my neighbor, stopped by with a loaf of her homemade sourdough. She leaned against the porch railing, her gray hair tucked under a scarf. Heard you were in the hospital, she said, her eyes soft but sharp. I nodded, didn't say much. She hesitated, then lowered her voice. Saw Sophia at the diner yesterday, talking to a realtor. She mentioned your house. Clara said it'd be perfect for a flip once you were gone. My chest tightened, not from the heart scare, but from something heavier. I thanked Margaret, took the bread, and closed the door. The next day, Lily came over, her guitar slung across her back, her sneakers muddy from the walk. She didn't hug me right away, just looked at me with those big, quiet eyes. We sat at the kitchen table, splitting the sourdough, the butter melting into its cracks. She was quieter than usual, picking at her sleeve. Then she reached into her backpack and pulled out a small black USB drive. A piece of tape on it with her messy handwriting. Listen to this. Grandma, that night, after Lily went to bed in the guest room, I plugged the USB into my old laptop. I put on headphones, the kind Robert used to wear when he listened to jazz. The audio was muffled at first, dishes clinking, a faucet running, then Sophia's voice, sharp, impatient. Once she's gone, we sell the house. It's step one. We'll get Lily into that private school. Move closer to the city. Michael's voice, lower, hesitant. She's not that old. Sophia, she's fine. Sophia laughed, short and cold. She's not fine. She's alone. That's our advantage. I took off the headphones. The room was still, except for the faint tick of the kitchen clock. I didn't cry. I didn't shake, but something inside me shifted, like a lock clicking into place. Lily knocked softly on the door, her silhouette small in the dark. Did you listen? She asked. I nodded. She stepped closer, her hand brushing mine. I didn't want you to be alone anymore, she whispered, and in that moment, I knew she was the reason I couldn't stay silent. The kitchen clock ticked louder that night, or maybe it was just the silence making it feel that way. I sat at the table, Lily's USB drive still in my hand, its weight heavier than it should have been. Sophia's words echoed in my head, she's alone. That's our advantage. I didn't sleep. Instead, I opened my laptop again, scrolling through old files, looking for something, anything, to anchor me. That's when I found it, a video file labeled, For Clara, 2016. Robert's handwriting wasn't on it, but I knew it was his doing. He'd always been the one to save moments, to record our life like it was a story worth keeping. I clicked play. The screen flickered, and there he was, sitting in our living room, the piano behind him. His hair was thinner then, his voice soft from the chemo, but his eyes still held that steady warmth. "Clara," he said, looking straight at the camera, "if you're watching this, I'm probably gone, but you're still here. This house, our life, it's yours to protect. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Live for you, my love." The video ended abruptly, his smile lingering. I didn't cry, I just sat there, feeling his words settle deep, like a fire I'd forgotten how to kindle. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I called Thomas, our family lawyer, who'd known Robert since their college days. His office smelled of cedar and ink, the kind of place where decisions felt final. I brought the USB and Robert's notebook, its pages worn but unyielding. Thomas leaned back in his chair, his glasses perched low. "Clara, you sure about this?" he asked, his voice steady but searching. I slid the USB across his desk. "Play it," I said. He did. When Sophia's voice came through, sharp and calculating, Thomas's jaw tightened. He didn't need to hear more. We spent the afternoon drafting papers. I sold the house, our house, Robert's and mine, to a young couple starting their life. The money went into a trust for Lily, to be hers when she turned 18. Not a cent for Michael. Not a whisper for Sophia. Thomas wrote it all down, his pen scratching the paper like it was carving my resolve into stone. I signed without hesitation, my hand steady, my heart quieter than it had been in years. 2 days later, Michael showed up at the house, a wicker basket of fruit in his hands, Sophia trailing behind in a tailored coat. "Mom, I'm sorry about the other day," he said through the screen door. His voice was rehearsed, like a line from a script he didn't believe. Sophia smiled, too bright, too perfect. I didn't open the door. I'd asked Thomas to handle it. He stepped onto the porch, holding a manila envelope sealed with a red stamp. "This is from Clara," he said, his tone flat, final. Michael tore it open, his eyes scanning the pages. The sale confirmation, the trust documents, a copy of Robert's notebook page. "Don't let anyone take it unless it's your choice." Sophia grabbed the papers, her nails catching the light. "A trust? For Lily?" Her voice cracked, not with sadness, but with something sharper, defeat. Michael looked at me through the window, his face pale. "Mom, why didn't you talk to us?" I stepped forward, just enough for him to see me. "You should have come to the I said, my voice low, steady. Lily stood beside me, her hand slipping into mine, small but strong. Sophia's eyes darted to her, then back to the papers. "You're putting her in the middle," she said, her smile gone. I didn't flinch. "No," I said, "I'm showing her what it means to stand tall." The air felt heavy, the kind of quiet that follows a storm. Michael opened his mouth, but no words came. Sophia pulled his arm, her heels clicking as they walked away. I didn't watch them go. I just held Lily's hand, her warmth the only thing I needed. The morning I moved into my new apartment, the air smelled of fresh paint and possibility. It was a small place, tucked in a quiet corner of town, with cream-colored walls and a window overlooking a field of wildflowers. No creaky stairs, no ghosts of old memories, just a clean slate. I stood by the window, watching the sun spill gold across the grass. For the first time in years, I felt light, like I'd shed a weight I didn't know I was carrying. Lily arrived that afternoon, her backpack slung over one shoulder, a small suitcase at her feet, and her guitar case clutched tight. She didn't say much, just stepped inside and smiled, like she'd found her place. We didn't unpack right away. Instead, we pushed a small table by the window, spread a checkered tablecloth, and planted a pot of mint on the balcony. Its sharp, green scent filled the air, reminding me of the summers Robert and I spent tending our garden. Lily strummed her guitar, A soft tune that felt like a conversation without words. I joined her on the old piano I'd brought along, its keys still warm with history. That evening, I made tea, Earl Grey. No sugar, just like always. The cup warmed my hands as I sat across from Lily. She looked at me, her curls catching the light. "Grandma," she said, "this feels like home." I nodded, my throat tight, not because of the apartment, but because of her, because someone was here, seeing me, not as a mother who'd given everything, but as Clara, still whole, still here. I walked to the bathroom mirror later that night. The light soft overhead, my hair was grayer now, my eyes lined with years. But they were clear, steady. "Hello, Clara," I whispered. "It's good to see you again." And I meant it. I used to think family was about giving until you had nothing left. But I learned something else. If you don't stand up for yourself, even those you love will forget you're there. Like the old piano in the corner. Played for years, then left silent when everyone moved on. Family isn't where you sacrifice everything, it's where you're seen, valued, whole. If they forget that, it's not your job to remind them. It's your job to remind yourself. Lily and I sat by the window the next morning. The mint pot between us. The wildflowers swaying outside. She strummed a new melody. And I knew we'd be okay. Not because we had a house, but because we had each other. And for the first time, I was enough.